Hello, my name is Jin Taguchi, and today we're going to be talking about the parts of the instrument for violin and viola, and I'm also going to tell you how to take care of your instrument. So first, we're going to talk about the parts of your violin or viola. So up here is the scroll, this decorative part here, and then you have your pegs, and these are for your strings on violin: E, A, D, and G. On the viola, these are for the strings A, D, G, and C. And turning to the violin, you have the neck on the back here. You have this ebony piece of wood. This is the fingerboard. And then you have the two F holes. You have your bridge for where the strings rest. And you have your tailpiece, and you have your N button. This is what holds the tailpiece in. And here, you should have your fine tuners. I only have one on this violin, but most of you will have 4 fine tuners. These are each for whichever string they are attached to. You'll have your chin rest. It's called a chin rest, but you more so rest the violin on your collarbone and hold it with your jaw. Instead of with your chin, it's nice with your jaw. Now I'm going to talk about the parts of the bow. So the bow is in 2 parts. It's the stick up here and the bow hair down here. This is also called the horsehair, the bow hair. And up here is the tip. Back here is the frog. It's not the end, it's called the frog. And here you'll have this leather piece right here. This is called the grip. Here's the pearl, this little shiny part here. And you have your screw. This is for loosening and tightening your bow. Next thing I'm going to talk about is upkeep, how to take care of your instrument. You have your violin, and you'll probably have this shoulder rest. Shoulder rest has this curve, this high curve, and this low curve. This high curve should sit very comfortably on your shoulder. Not the opposite, because that is very precarious and it could help the violin topple over. You want it nice and comfortable against your body like this. So you're going to take your violin, flip it over, very gently tuck it against your body, and slip one end on about halfway, and then the other side. You don't want to push it up so tight that it can get stuck, and you also don't want it so loose that it could fall off. So just nice in the middle like this. Then it can sit comfortably on your shoulder. The next thing is your rosin. So this is what mine looks like, but some of you might have a small box with your rosin inside. There are many different variations, but one common thing is it'll have this flat part here. So I would say between every 2 hours of practicing or playing on your violin or viola, I'm going to take your bow and very gently just drag it on that groove in between. If you don't have a groove, be very slow so that that groove can develop over time. And you'll do this about, you'll drag it across about 4 or 5 times. However you think is necessary. You can also experiment with this. Don't do it too much, otherwise you'll have a very sticky bow. When you have your rosin, I keep it in a Ziploc bag so that it also doesn't stick to the case. And because it's made of a sticky material, and it can also damage the case. One thing that I would highly recommend you use is a rag. So this is an old t-shirt without any print, and I use this after every practice session, every playing session, to just wipe down the instrument after you're done. So the first thing that I do is I take the rag and wipe off the strings one by one, get all of the rosin that I can off of there, and then go underneath the strings very carefully so you don't hit anything. Underneath here, if there's any dust, the chin rest, and the neck. Basically anywhere that you have touched the instrument a lot over the practice session. This is so that you can keep your instrument at the condition that it's in and that you don't damage it in any way. One very important thing that I want to emphasize is that you want to be very careful with your violin or viola because these are very delicate instruments. The wood is glued together. It's handmade. It's glued together very precisely. And you're going to want to treat these instruments like you would your pet dog or your pet cat. You wouldn't want to leave them in a hot car. You wouldn't want to leave them anywhere uncomfortably hot. And you wouldn't want to hurt them or kick them or injure it in any way. Even if it's in the case, you don't want to drop it. You don't want to cause any harm to this. Because, one, if it's too hot, the varnish, this clear coating on the instrument can actually melt off and it could damage the case. The wood can also warp, and if it's too hot, and it could permanently destroy the instrument. And replacing these instruments is hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And you just want to make sure that these stay in the state that you got them in. Thank you very much for watching, and happy practicing.